Welcome to GSP Tea Time, the podcast edition, where we talk about all Girl Scout things. I'm Cadet Girl Scout Francine Prades,
And I am Cadet Girl Scout Dorothy Rosario.
your host for this IDG podcast series. For this year's International Day of the Girls celebration, we are launching the first ever podcast series of the Girl Scouts of the Philippines. And in this first episode, we'll be talking about discovering and pursuing your personal advocacy with the help of our guests who, despite their busy lives, still find time to serve others and advance their advocacies.
Right. Today on the show, we are very excited to have three powerful advocates who are championing relevant causes. And on top of that, they are all awardees of the Girl Scouts of the Philippines National Young Achievers Award. First, we have Miss Karina Jardin, a GSP 18 National Young Achievers Award. Miss Karina is a visual artist, children's book illustrator, educator, and creative projects management consultant based in Malaysia. She believes in the power of art in creating a positive social impact. Thus, she founded Artistikong Kabataan Philippines Incorporated to empower Filipino youth with leadership skills through creativity, and Art Dialogo, which provides a platform for ASEAN artists to collaborate, promote intercultural dialogue, and community development. She has been recognized by several institutions and government bodies, and among such are UNESCO, Children Are Painting the World Social Fund of Kazakhstan, the Philippine Embassy in Singapore, in Madrid and in Malaysia, and the ASEAN Committee in Madrid, Spain. She is also an inaugural fellow of ASEAN Youth Fellowship Program 2018 by Singapore International Foundation and National Youth Council, Singapore. Hello po, Ate Karina. Maraming salamat po for accepting our invitation.
Ay, maraming
Kamusta po?
salamat. Yeah, maraming salamat. A pleasure is all mine. It's really humbling to be invited. And again, magandang umaga sa lahat ng ka-Girl Scouts natin. And hello to Miss P out there. And hello Tita Jade and Tita Lilia. And to my fellow Girl Scouts here. Again, a very green morning.
Yes, a very green morning.
Indeed, Dottie and Ate Karina. Another GSP 18 National Young Achievers awardee that we have with us is Miss Rejee-lou Media. Miss Rejee-lou works as a disaster manager for Training Chief in Davao Oriental Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office or PDRRMO. Apart from her work in conducting community-based risk assessment and safety drills as a volunteer, she is also the founder of Mati Moms, an online support group for breastfeeding mothers. Her advocacy is very personal to her as she is also a mother herself. And being an advocate for exclusive breastfeeding, she has organized AHAdvocacy, a local adaptation of the worldwide latching on activity. Hello, Ate Reg!
Hello everyone! Maayong buntag. Di ani sa amo ang dialect. I'm happy to be with you all.
Same day, we're so glad, di ba, Dottie?
Yes, very excited kami, Ate, to have you here. And of course, we also have Miss Angeli Monique Siladan, an awardee of the GSP 75 National Young Achievers Award. Miss Angeli is the co-founder of Kapwa, a digital storytelling platform that aims to challenge stereotypes towards Muslim Filipinos by producing narratives online, conducting offline dialogues, and training youth storytellers in Mindanao. Since 2015, she has led peace-building initiatives such as the Stories of Bangsamoro, Tech Camp Philippines, and the #Kneel for Marawi campaign in 2017 that fed at least 2,000 refugees during the Marawi siege. She has widely spoken about her advocacy on gender equality, youth, and peace at the United Nations headquarters in New York, United States Institute of Peace in Washington, D.C., Japan, UK, Thailand, and Denmark. She also has worked both in the government and private sector, promoting youth participation and using technology for social good. Currently, she is working for the UN Migration. Hello po, Ate Ange. Kamusta po kayo?
Hi,
Dottie, thank you so much for this invitation to our Girl Scout colleagues and our family. I'm really glad to be back here and to share this time with everyone, especially with all these accomplished young women in this room today.
Yes, we're really happy to have you here din po, Ate Ange. Right, Ate Francine?
Absolutely, Dottie. Katulad nga ng palagi nating nasasabi, feel ko, this is the moment na parang pinaka nagfa-fangirl ako kasi ang daming amazing women na nandito sa ating organization and you can't help but feel that energy, that power that flows through the sisterhood na with them seeing everything that they've done and everything that they're continuing to do to grow as an individual, nai-inspire ka to do better and be better as a Girl Scout and as a person. So I think, Dottie, this is the time that we also have to dive deeper into the conversation and start with
Yes.
asking our guests, what is your main advocacy in life? Kasi parang na-introduce nga po ni Dottie na may different advocacies kayo. And adding to that, what issues or causes are most important to you? Since we have three speakers, I think we can start with Ate Karina.
Oh yes, talking about advocacies, like whenever I look at advocacies, sabi nga nila, you can never share what you don't have. Like first, like for me, I'm an artist, so that's what I'm sharing sa mga kabataan, and then to people of different backgrounds, and like developing your personal advocacy really needs to come within you, like from your heart. It's not like, fashion na parang papalit-palit, ganyan ang susuotin mo. It's not like damit na pwede mo na lang what they call this, tanggalin, and then isuot ulit or something like that. It should just like grow together with you. Yeah. So for me, like my advocacy is more into maximizing the role of art for community development, and at the same time, to use it to amplify voices, like the usual in a way. Pero I'm also inculcating the value of a cross-cultural lens in what I do, being a migrant as well, and to stay relevant. Yeah, sa Pilipinas as well. Can never remove like the Filipina in me. Kaya kailangan talaga like to always create something relevant and at the same time speaks volume of who we are as Filipinos or Filipina.
Thank you so much, Ate Karina. Parang it brings into mind yung nabanggit niyo po, yung kanta sa isang Miss Universe pageant, yung Raising Your Flag. It speaks volumes, especially right now for us Filipinos and for everyone across the world. Yung moral ng mga tao mababa because of the pandemic. But with people like you, with people who are raising their flags, using art as a way to bridge the cross-cultural divide, I think it makes the world a better and a safer place for everyone to be brave, to take risks. And sabi nyo nga, an advocacy, it's an organic thing that grows with you. And maybe for others listening to this podcast, hearing that, okay, I can find my advocacy, I can be brave, I can do great things, it propels them to continue making change, lalo na ngayon sa IDG 2021 where hashtag is hashtag write her story. So thank you so much, Ate Karina.
Exactly.
How about Ate Reg po? Kayo naman po, Ate Reg, what's your main advocacy?
Kasi naman sa akin, on my point of view, when we hear the word advocacy, diba, by definition, it is the act of process of supporting a cause. So sa akin, when we say cause naman, it springs out from all around us and varies depending on our preferences, priorities, needs, and of course the pressures around us. No, what's my point is, let us not limit ourselves into just one advocacy. So kasi ako, feeling ko kasi I was born an advocate. When I was younger, I started advocating for our environment, joining tree planting activities, coastal cleanups, yung mga ganon, waste segregations. Tapos when I was in nursing school, I focused on HIV advocacies, yung mga HIV awareness, teen pregnancy, adolescent and reproductive health, yung mga ganun din. And now that I am a mom, I focused on the infant and young child feeding, especially during emergencies. Lalo na ngayon that we are in the midst of pandemic. So, yun, I'm talking about breastfeeding. So yun, yun yung pinaka main na advocacy ko for now. But again, gusto ko lang i-stress, let us not limit ourselves into just one, because young girls should know na ang dami-dami po nating kayang i-contribute sa world, not just one advocacy.
Thanks, Ate Reg. And super agree po doon to explore the different advocacies that there is. Kasi parang dito sa world natin, ang dami nagsispring up na bagong advocacies. And there's always new things to be passionate about. And for young girls, this is the time, the perfect opportunity to take a more deeper look into the world. Ano ba dapat yung mga activities na pwede nating puntahan at become interested in, learn more about it. And sa nakwento ni Ate Reg about her advocacy, which is infant and child feeding during a pandemic or particularly breastfeeding in general, parang naramdaman ko dun dots yung super proud ni Ate Reg to be a mom. And I like how that experience propelled her to lead an advocacy that involves other moms as well.
Yes, Ate Francine, I actually agree. And alam mo, nag-resonate talaga sa akin yung sinabi ni Ate Raj na we should not limit ourselves to one advocacy or to one issue. Kung ano yung interest natin, kung ano talaga yung within us, kagaya nga na sinabi ni Ate Karina kanina, what is within us, within our heart, yun yung i-pursue nating advocacy. And literal naisip ko rin bigla yung intersectionality ng mga issues. So, doon talaga yung point na hindi natin kailangan i-limit yung sarili natin. If we want to work on this advocacy na cross-cutting din sa another advocacy, you can do that, girls. And ngayon naman, we can ask Ate Ange, kung for you, Ate, what is your advocacy and ano yung issue or causes na pinakamahalaga for you?
Thank you for this very relevant question, no? And I can really resonate even more pa sa sinabi ni na Ate Ana, Karina, and ni Ate Reg. And for me, I really agree that we don't have to box ourselves in that one single advocacy that we're gonna commit to for the rest of our life. Kumbaga, we're going through these different phases in our lives. And that really happened to me personally as well, just like what happened to Ate Reg previously. Diba? So 2 decades ago, Girl Scouting really redefined the meaning of empathy for me. And since then, I've learned how complex the problems that each one of us or our communities are experiencing every day. So personally, most of the issues that we've been talking about here, just like what Ate Reg mentioned, I cared about them, and these are already deeply ingrained in my lifestyle or in my workplace. So these issues includes like women empowerment, gender equality, alleviating the effects of climate change. They've already been inculcated in my lifestyle and in my workplace, and that itself is advocacy. However, in the roughly 5 or 6 years now in my professional life, I've been working closely with a lot of vulnerable communities, particularly those experiencing the immediate effects of natural disasters and human-induced conflict here in Mindanao. And at this point in my life, it matters to me that these narratives in this part of the country get noticed beyond their usual image in the media, and the change of perspectives of people outside these regions when we talk about violence. And I care talaga about how each one of us could contribute in order to challenge this current structural and cultural systems that we have. And that these allow for all these issues that I've mentioned earlier to exist because of these existing issues. So we can only tackle this bigger issues of gender equality, women's rights, climate change, etc. by really going deeper into these structural problems that we have. So I guess that's it for me.
Yes, definitely, Ate Ange. And alam nyo, I really find it interesting na iba-iba po yung mga advocacies ng ating mga guests ngayon because they work in diverse field. Because I think it will open the minds talaga of our girls na ayun na nga, we should not box ourselves at hindi dapat natin i-limit into one advocacy, into one issue yung sarili natin. We can work on different issues. And I really agree talaga dun sa kanina nga na sinabi ni Ate na within us, within our heart, find your interest talaga, kung ano yung nag-resonate sa'yo, and it will make you find your advocacy. Ngayon naman po, in connection to that, I want to ask the three of you kung ano po yung nagpa-realize sa inyo na you want to create change, specifically sa chosen advocacy field niyo po ngayon. Siguro we can start with Ate Reg po muna.
So for me naman, itong change na word na talaga, usong-uso talaga tayo ito sa Girl Scout, no? So ito yung parang very strong word for us, no, to make a difference. And as Girl Scouts, no, I hope you agree with me na ito talaga yung pinakatatak sa atin na halos tayong lahat talaga, when we say you're a Girl Scout, parang tayo yung movers of change, yung parang ganon. So we want change because we are aware that there is something that can be improved, no, and we are empowered enough to ignite or to spark the process of transformation. So when yung sa breastfeeding kasi, when I was my firstborn, yung initial talaga na thrust ko, I just wanted to give the best for my child. I just wanted to exclusively breastfeed her. So yun yung pinaka-ultimate goal ko at that time. But along the way, syempre, I encountered so many hardships that made me think twice. No, I got tempted to find other alternatives to feed her, yung parang ganon. But the thing is, I have my family, I have my friends who encouraged me to continue. From there, I realized that it is really important to have a very strong support system in achieving yung goal ko to exclusively breastfeed, and thus the creation of Mati Moms here in our locality. So I wanted to encourage mothers to take an informed choice in feeding their little ones, and I want to provide them with safe and non-judgmental environment to speak about their concerns about breastfeeding and all. So yun, I organized HACAB na, that is the local counterpart of the Global Big Lash On, wherein mothers from all over the globe shows strength in numbers to advocate breastfeeding. So yun naman po sa akin.
Ayun. Thank you so much po, Ate Reg. Ang na-pick up ko po talaga doon is having, a support system who will support your reason kung bakit you want to create this particular change and bakit you want to do this advocacy, you want to create an impact. Ngayon naman po, I would like to ask Ate Ange, kung sa inyo po, what made you realize that you want to create change?
Resonate din sa experience ni Reg on how she started from her personal circle or her personal circumstances, and dun niya na discover ang kanyang advocacy or drive to contribute in breastfeeding advocacy. For me at the beginning, parang ganun din eh. When I started doing community work, my intention was purely to help. And yung creating change, that notion of creating change is not really very obvious and just secondary. So for instance, my short answer talaga sa when I actually realized that I wanted to create change when it comes to peace building was the solidification of my passion during Marawi Siege. When that happened in 2017, I was looking back at that event and trying to understand what instances in my life that I got to get connected into this bigger event that's been happening from miles away even. So I was already volunteering initially in causes in Mindanao or peace and conflict in general, and learning more about why peace is so hard to achieve in this region. So I started by asking questions on how a conflict from miles away is going to impact my daily life or my family, my friends, my immediate community. And this is why, for me, it's really important to look back and reading about our history. Of course, we have to emphasize that we get this from reliable and established facts and not just from social media and kwentong barbero, diba? Even though we have these platforms right now, we have to be critical about what we're reading. So in short, for me, I've realized that I can contribute to creating this change when I became more critical about myself and our society as a whole. So as well as by knowing that even though we have this small change or small spark, people get to live better, and eventually it becomes a chain reaction to the rest of the population.
Yes, ate. And doon sa sinabi niyo po na we have to look back in history talaga. We need to critically understand bakit po nangyayari yung mga ganitong issues. It is really crucial in advocacy, di ba? And kung paano natin mabibigyan ng solusyon at least yung mga nangyayari around us. Now, I would like to ask naman po, Ate Karina, What made you realize that you want to create change,
Well, actually,
especially with art?
yeah.
Rather.
Yeah, I was listening to Ate Angeli and Ate Lou, and it's just like the same for me. You know, like I really didn't understand parang the word development change. It's too complex for me. But then the fact or the process of sharing your talents or sharing what you have, I think yeah, just sharing what you have, as simple as that, then it will solidify as time goes by, along like with the people that you get to touch base with. Like I always believe like the process itself will help you understand that you wanted to do you wanted to make some changes or create a difference. And in what I do, I'm just going to share this. What's really funny is we're, talking about narratives. And when you really wanted to, when you're working on the ground, we do have the power to change narratives too. Like it's not Kwentong Barbero that we're relying on. We're actually writing. That's why we need to be, let's say, like we need to be effective storytellers. Or parang sabi nga nila, like now we need more artists, we need more poets, we need like writers who can tell about the beauty of our society, or what is left of of humanity, or the best qualities that we have, 'di ba? So parang ganon. So as an artist, I'm going to share this story. We were traveling for a project here in Malaysia, and I brought in a group of artists from the Philippines because we're doing the bilateral program, a bilateral program on the arts, in promotion of Malaysia and Philippine friendship. And that was the first project under our bilateral agreement on cross cultures and or cultural diplomacy, as they say that. So punta kami mga artists, Filipino artists, punta kami Malaysia and all. So the immigration collected everything. It was so funny. Hala, wala kami dito pala. Wala pala yung classification namin dito. And that from that moment, I said, oh wow. Like because of the project that we did, we're able to actually take a piece of the pie when it comes to professionalizing our creativity. Kasi minsan sabi mo pag artist, sasabi mo, ay, artist lang ako. Parang as though we cannot contribute that much. But then it's the other way around, and together like with people like all of you here in Girl Scouts, with like with Ate Lou, with Ate Angeli, we can create compelling stories that can, propel change.
Thank you, Ate
So
Karina. Yes, we got that. And I
yeah.
agree. When people talk about the word or the term artist, they usually have this sort of stigma about it, because I think it's part of our culture na rin to look at high-paying jobs as ones that we treat with respect and we acknowledge as valid. But in reality, every kind of job contributes to creating a unique ecosystem, a unique society that allows us to grow and to find in ourselves the capability to express our humanity in different ways. Ang ganda nga po nang nabanggit niyo. And I'll add this thing that Ate Reg mentioned. Sabi niya, I wish I can be an artist as well. Nako, Ate Reg, the same thoughts.
Yes. Yeah, that's true, Ate Angeli. Yes.
We actually need more humanitarians po talaga, especially at this current state that we are in, but not just limiting it to the pandemic, but going outside of this experience, talagang kailangan natin ma-express yung humanity natin. I think I might share din po a short anecdote from my experience. So one of my school organizations, we had this sort of send-off for our graduating students or org mates. Tapos, our task there was to reach out to their loved ones, mga sisters, brothers, parents, special someone, friends in school, classmates, and the like. Tapos, one of the members that I was assigned to na mag-reach out sa mga family members niya ay my cousin. And yung cousin niya na yun, nakausap ko. And I said, Ate, can I have a short dedication video for this org mate? Tapos nag-send naman siya. And it's a common thing that we do in our org, and we don't usually preview the video kasi usually well wishes yan and very personal siya. So, pag sa send-off na mismo namin siya papanoodin. Pero that day, curiously, binuksan ko yung video, tapos sabi ko, sige nga i-preview ko kasi para ma-idea ako kung anong gagawin sa mga ganitong send-off in future events. And yung pinapanood ko yung video, I was so amazed kasi sabi ng cousin niya, nag-thank you siya. Sabi niya, thank you because you expressed your humanity. And for me, I was thinking, human beings naman tayo. Bakit ka pa kailangan mag-thank you for someone expressing their humanity or having that sense of humanity? Kasi human beings naman tayo. But then when I looked up what the word humanity means, it means being able to connect with other people, being able to go deeper, to touch lives, to feel that you are more connected to other people than just saying, hi, hello, kamusta ka? But knowing them intimately. And sobrang na-touch talaga ako doon, realizing that thank you for your humanity. That's one of the highest praises I've ever heard someone say. Kasi you're thanking them for being themselves, for reaching out to other people. Something na nakakalimutan natin in our daily lives kasi sobrang caught up na tayo sa bilis ng mundo. And I would also like to highlight my appreciation kasi I've heard kanina yung about storytelling, crafting compelling stories from the three of you. And it's so nice to hear kasi yun, nag-work up siya sa team natin na write her story. But at the same time, one of the things that Girl Scouting campaigns for is to empower girls to talk about their lived experiences. Nothing about us without us, di ba? Sabi nga nila, when we're creating decisions at the decision-making table, you also have to include the people who are most connected to that decision or to that issue. So if it's about girls, include the girls, give them a seat at the table, allow them to express their stories. And with your stories, ang gandang isipin na slowly, we are changing the way we view storytelling, not just saying a story, putting it in front of us, but also making sure that those stories are lived experiences, naramdaman, binigyang patunay na, okay, ito yung nangyayari at the ground level. So thank you so much, Ates. And I have another question, not that far off from what we've talked about earlier. Kasi sa school din po namin, ayan, ang dami ko na experiences from school. There's this young person who approached us and nabanggit niya na worried siya kasi wala pa siyang advocacy. Coming from our school, parang big term po kasi when you say advocacy, it's something that not naman required, pero it's something that everybody carries kasi when you talked about being in a higher education and when you're already pursuing your own career a few years from now. So parang worried siya na wala siyang personal advocacy. And I think hindi lang naman siya, actually, may mga experiences din ako when I was younger. I was a bit nervous na parang wala pa talaga ata akong advocacy until I discovered girl-powered nutrition. So for you, Ates, do you have this experience as well? Or if not, what would be your advice to young women and girls who have not yet found their advocacy? And if ever man na naka-encounter sila ng issue or ng concern na very interested sila, does that mean kapag nakita na nila yung issue na yon at nag-resonate sa kanila, yun na ba kaagad yung advocacy? So I guess this question, I would like to invite Ate Ange to speak about it first.
Thank you for sharing that experience, Francine, because I totally agree to that. And it's not only a case for a few girls or young women. You know, we go through this crossroads once in our lives, especially when we're young people who participate and really go out there to do a lot of community work. So I have very simple advice on din naman. First of all, don't be hard on yourself, because I'm pretty sure you already know exactly what you care about. Just like what Ate Ana said earlier, that it's within you. So if you really want to unleash this inner Wonder Woman or Darna in you, I find a time, sometimes like a 30-minute time for introspection or soul searching, as they say. You practice that habit of listing down your thoughts and your emotions and how you feel about this world, really knowing what you care about. And then in this introspection, you try to find the intersections in your life. So that actually includes either your personal history, your education, what roles were you doing in your Girl Scout troop some time ago, or what have you been enjoying when you were still a kid. So these little intersections yun nga yung minention natin, big word na rin ang advocacy, intersectionality, but it's actually just as simple as that. What do you really care about during these times of your life? So in this process, personally, when I've done this before, when I was in this crossroads, I was trying to find this middle ground in this intersectionality, and I found out that I was passionate with technology, travel, peace building, teaching, and of course, I have this personal identity within me being a half Mindanaoan, and I almost forgot about that part of my identity. That's why now I'm doing work that is putting together all this intersectionality, and now I'm a humanitarian worker with the United Nations, and that's, I think, what is happening and what's going to happen eventually for our young women and girls as well.
Thanks, Ate Ange. Ang ganda ng manifestation po, no, na parang it is something that you've thought about, knew that you were passionate about, and slowly that manifested into reality, into a career that you're now building and growing in. And if I may add for our young viewers or listeners, there's this book I read. It's called The Crossroads of Should and Must by L. Luna. So you might want to read that. It's a very good book. Ano siya, marami siyang illustrations. So it's not too heavy with words, and you can get to discern ano nga ba yung gusto mong gawin versus what society tells you have to do. And maybe slowly you can apply that to your short soul searching meditation routine each day. Katulad na nabanggit ni Ate Angela, may 30 minutes siya na ina-allot each day. Or you can do it in your free time when you're thinking about what advocacy to pursue, or when you're sparked with something na you think you're interested about. So thank you so much, Ate Ange. How about you, Ate Reg? What would be your advice for those na parang naghahanap pa ng kanilang inner Darna?
Ayan. So, eto kasi si Ange, if I may kwento lang, Francino, we've met, I think, 2011. Tama ba ako, Ange? If I'm correct, correct me if I'm wrong, ha? A long time ago. And that was because we joined it's leadership training for climate change adaptation, parang ganon. So that was our thrust that time. Yun talaga yung pinaka-advocacy namin that time. And we would like to encourage young girls as well na parang to make a stand, reduce your carbon footprint. So parang ganon yon. So I would totally agree kay Ange, no, na nung sinabi niya na don't be too hard on yourself, no. Kung hindi niyo pa naman nakikita yung advocacy niyo, yung main advocacy in life nyo, just wait for it. Kasi darating din yun. You will know naman because it will make you happy. It will make you parang, ito na talaga yung purpose in life ko. Kasi napansin ko talaga ngayong generation na to, when we talk about advocacy, it needs to be validated. Yung parang ganon, yung kasi sa akin, kahit naman mga little things lang, that doesn't have to be parang ma-immortalize. It can still be an advocacy for you. Kahit 2 cheerer lang or 2 lives lang ang matouch mo, that is still an advocacy. So, ang sa akin lang is know yourself. Know your interest. Ano ba yung something na you strongly believe in? And then if you and in doing so, you touch lives, or kahit si best friend mo lang ay na-touch mo at na-change mo ang kanyang principle in life, or kahit si kapitbahay mo na dala mo doing the coastal cleanup, that is still an advocacy. So yun, don't be too hard. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't seek for approval always. Do not seek for validation always. True advocacy comes from the heart, and as long as you're happy with it, yun na yun.
I'd like to add a little bit something. I truly agree with Ate Rejee and Ate Angeli. It really needs to come from the heart, and at the same time, with or without people looking, whether it's offline or online, or kahit walang ano niyan. I mean, no, other people don't notice it. Just continue doing it. It's never about that. You don't need to be validated. I really believe in that. And at the same time, dun din lalabas yung good character na sinasabi. Like for me, I'm just going to add on. No, you're gonna ask me. And then they ask, why you're still doing that? Magpapagod ka, magpipintura ka ng mga dingding, bibilad ka sa araw and all of this hard work. And I said, at least at the end of the day, maybe this is a small act
but then this can occupy the biggest part of someone's heart. Like this might be a small act of kindness. However, it's generously given and it's purely given. Yung pagiging genuine, very important yun. And working with children of different backgrounds, they can really feel, kung totoo ka ba or not. Yeah, they're very sensitive enough. Kaya sometimes even if I bring friends, like of course you'd like to share advocacies to other friends of yours. You begin with that. I always tell them, are you ready to do this? I don't want to force you. Sharing advocacy is never about that. Pull, ano yun, push and pull. Parang tug of war. Pero ano yan, if it really comes from your heart, that's it. Even when it comes like to other programs that I do in here, like working with girls who are abused, refugees, name it. Basta may bata, they want to do art and they want to be empowered. Of course, you give them a platform as well, regardless of their background. Pantay-pantay. So, I mean, I think that's one of the good things about art. Like, it's a good equalizer. Na nawawalan na kami ng thin line, of course, but then you'd like to safeguard everyone. And through that safeguarding, I also tell like some funders or those who would like to take part, are you doing this to create like photos for social media or whatever? Or I mean, it's okay to share, yes. However, like we need to know and we need to safeguard the morale of the people that we wanted to help, or we wanted to we wanted to touch base with. It's a two-way street. As you go further in your advocacy, then you will realize like you'll be analytical in a way and creative as well in the process on how you can craft something that is good for everyone. Yeah, and without exploitation. Sometimes there are those, Ate Angeli, yes, you can add on to it. Ate Angeli?
Thank you, Ate Ana. Yes. Grabe, I really agree with all your words kasi parang this is the problem with what we're having right now, na we have social media as an external factor that's contributing to how we get validation about our advocacy. And I just want to remind also a lot of our Girl Scouts to actually think critically, think why are you getting this pressure when it comes to knowing what your advocacy is, or why are you being pressured to help? So maybe it might be coming from your circle in social media or what you read every day. So maybe a little bit of tweak in what you practice every day can also help.
Yeah, and to add on that, like of course, like for us girls, we seek a mentor like to help you develop your advocacy. Wala si Miss P in here, Tita Ellen. I owe so much like to Tita Ellen, like what I do today, and to all my educators in here in Girl Scout. Because kung wala yung healthy ecosystem for support, and at the same time yung mentors, then it would be parang not on a sturdy ground. Like what I believe in won't be too developed, or parang half baked, and you don't want to offer something to the community that is half baked and do what, just like for validation or anything. Like they say, okay, in a personal practice, when I give something, I don't have to say it, especially mga physical things. I don't have to say it. The more you actually give, the humble you will become, or the more you get to see the world and the complexities around it, or the more the more humble you should become, girls. It's very important. Yun. So, yun lang. And wag kayo ma-motivate na, gusto kong higitan kasi yung mentor ko or the person I use as an inspiration. No. Ayun lang yung maybe I would like to share to all young girls out there as well, to our listeners, na no, don't compete, cooperate. That's way better. Cooperate. And you can amplify, more voices, magnify more dreams. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you so much, Ate Ange, Ate Reg, and Ate Karina. Grabe, very inspiring po talaga yung words ninyo. And actually, gusto ko lang din i-add na ngayon with the social media, with the rise of the hashtag campaigns in Twitter, ang daming may trend na nape-pressure talaga yung mga kabataan, hindi lang ang mga Girl Scout natin to find their advocacy. Gusto nilang mahanap agad. Hindi nila, nagkakaroon ng confusion kasi ang daming issue out there na pwede nilang i-work in. However, yung sinabi niyo po talaga na don't be too hard on yourself as long as genuine yung reason mo, as long as gusto mo talaga siyang gawin and nakaka-influence ka, kahit isa o dalawa man lang yan, it's already an advocacy. And dito po naalala ko actually yung isa sa mga mentor namin nila Ate Francine, nila Ate Jen, si Ate Shelo. Shout out Ate Shelo. Isa po siyang young adult din sa Girl Scouts of the Philippines. Tapos, ang sinabi niya po sa akin when we're having this conversation, she told me na yung pangarap niya lang talaga kahit isang bata lang, isang batang babae, ma-change niya yung perspective, matulungan niyang mag-grow, matulungan niyang makita yung mundo holistically. Yun lang talaga yung dream niya. Parang kapag nagawa niya daw po yun, fulfilled na siya. And nung narinig ko yun sa kanya, I'm like, wow, your advocacy don't have to be that big, that huge. Hindi kailangan na makita ka talaga online, offline, kagaya na sinabi ni Ate Karina. Kailangan andun talaga yung impact. Hindi nagmamatter yung number of likes, number of media na na-reach, number of social media na nag-feature sa'yo, mga mainstream media. Ang nagmamatter is yung genuineness, kung ano ba talaga yung impact na nagawa mo sa girl or dun sa mga involved sa advocacy mo. So, sobrang nice po talaga na na-touch up natin ito. And ito din, very important to reiterate, to plant yourself in rich soil. Kagaya nga po ng nabanggit kanina, you have to seek mentors, you have to build a healthy ecosystem, be surrounded by inspiring and like-minded people, and eventually, you're gonna find your advocacy. So, ayun, very inspiring talaga. Thank you so much, Ates. And in relation to that, ngayon na napag-usapan na natin ang personal advocacy, paano ba natin mahahanap ito, ano ba yung mga ginagawa nyo personally. Ang gusto naman po namin tanungin is, through your lens, ano po ba yung vision ninyo sa mundo? Girl, let's start po muna with Ate Reg po ulit.
Ayan, so, this is a very complex question to answer, no? Kasi ako, ang dami-dami kong ganap sa buhay and parang nahihirapan akong makita ang using a single lens ang mundo. But all I can say is I'm seeing a pandemic-free world wherein tayong lahat nagkakaisa to make change. Yung kumbagang tayong lahat ay may something that is that holds importance to us, and then by doing so, by realizing that we are doing something to achieve better world in the future. Yun yung parang nakikita ko.
Thank you so much, Ate Reg. Agree talaga na sobrang complex niya, sobrang complicated niya kung iisipin. Pero as long as you know talaga kung ano yung gusto mong gawin, you're gonna achieve your vision for the world. Ngayon naman, let's ask Ate Ange the same question. Ano po yung vision niyo for the world, Ate?
It's quite difficult to do a vision these days, no? When things are quite uncertain. So I agree with Ate Reg talaga na we want a pandemic-free world, but we also cannot discount the fact that in the future there will be more pandemics like this that's gonna happen. It's about how ready we are to face this. For me, honestly, the grand vision talaga for me is peace. Diba? Sobrang cliche, but world peace. And the Miss Universe answer to that is peace talaga for me. But when I picture peace, it's not only about the absence of war or conflict or guns or bombs. For me, hindi ito ako yung una nagsabi, but for me, a world where human beings are treated equally and fairly regardless of their race, ethnicity, religion, gender, identity. This is really the peace that I envision the world to have, or to at least a world that we live in. Then this will enable also to know that we practice this peace every day as individuals, and there are actually systems in place na nasusustain itong peaceful living that we have, from the governance and to the laws that we enact. So this vision actually is quite achievable naman. Pero we don't need strong leaders. We need more empathetic leaders for this world to be more peaceful. And most of the time, this world for me is a world where women talaga lead.
Thank you, Ate Ange, for that. Actually, na-remember ko po yung quote. I think it's a graphics ata na nag-circulate dun sa internet. Sabi doon, hindi na daw natin kailangan ng mas matalinong scientist, mas magaling na ganito, ganyan. Kasi ang kailangan natin ngayon, empathetic, mga humanitarians. And I really agree with that po talaga. How about you, Ate Karina?
No, I'm just like going to add on. I agree with Ati Reggie and Ati Angeli, and it's just like so nice. Like whatever we do, it all leads into finding harmony, and peace within ourselves. Whatever we do, from small to large scale projects or advocacies, again, it's all about finding harmony. And yun, meron yung term na yun, ikigai, like finding that. Yeah, familiar with that? And I'm just going to share. Recently, I did a project. It's an artistic project in India where we involved 550 girls around the Punjab region. And we weave their stories all together, ito online and offline. And through that, I'm just like sharing, maybe how I put it, like maybe being an artist also has a perks, like to see the world or to also see different perspectives of people. That's where I get my inspiration, that's where I get my inspiration. And we see like most of their messages are really compelling. It's really strong. And that's why along like with our advocacies, or like with our yearning to be heard, or there are those different motivations. There are different motivations why people do advocacies. So whatever it is, we respect that. Ang sa akin lang is that we just have to learn how to respect everyone, so we can all thrive in a more inclusive society, or we can build that.
Thank you so much, Ate Karina. Ito, plug ko lang po. Kasi na-excite ako nung na-mention yung Ikigai, Ate. And actually, kakatapos ko lang nung libro last week. The book, Ikigai, the Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life. So sa ating mga listeners, if you have time, sobrang good read siya. And it will help you find your purpose talaga. Kung ano yung mga bagay na talagang nagdadala sa'yo in the flow, in the zone. So ayun, share ko lang po na maganda siyang basahin. Ate Francine, back to you.
Thanks, Dottie. And I would also like to add a great Japanese term na I've read recently. It's called wabi-sabi. It's finding beauty in imperfections. And I agree with the ates. They talked about finding world peace, discovering your ikigai, and achieving harmony in this world, as well as finding a more united world after this pandemic. And nothing could be further than that, than our shared ideals to make a better world. Hashtag for her world, sabi nga ng WAGs. And with that, Ates, I would like to ask, what keeps you motivated to pursue your advocacy? Kasi nabanggit ni Ate Ange yung about sa advocacy fatigue, which is very true. Parang I see a lot of young people starting to feel burnout, and that's considering we're at a young age na parang hindi pa usually accustomed kami na maka-experience ng burnout. And yet a lot of young people are saying, I feel burnt out na, I don't feel healthy or mentally okay to carry out my advocacy. So for you, Ates, how do you keep motivated? What keeps you motivated to pursue your advocacy? So let's start with Ate Karina.
Yeah, I mean, the motivation is more like coming from the people that you touch base with, and the people that believe that you can do things, yun lang sa akin, very simple. And of course, like my parents, my parents have been really helpful. Sabi nga nila sometimes, oh, get a real job. And I told them, like, being creative is a real job. Like, and then I eventually found my niche, like as a professional. I combine, you combine, or you found your niche. Like for me, I developed like all these creative programs, like for different organizations and all. And yun, like you just don't have to, what do you call this? Sorry, because I was reading earlier in the chat, like you don't have to sometimes just like prove a point or there's a proper term for that, like be too competitive. Yeah, so I'm gonna put it out there, Ate Reg. It's again like the motivation again should come like in improving yourself or creating like a sturdier ground for others to thrive. And to me, I need to keep going because you started it eh. Again, sometimes like this advocacy, naniniwala rin ako na kagani I was listening to Ati Reg na that she was born, she was born to be an advocate. May regalo ang ating creator sa atin. You know, like that purpose is instilled or given to you by our creator. And then in time you would know. That's why it's all about the process. You need to enjoy the process, and when you enjoy the process, then you'll be motivated. Of course, there's also burnout. It's okay if there's just like if you feel like tired, you can just like rest. But still, the content of your heart and what is important to you is where your moral fiber is as well would always be there. Continue lang, continue. Yeah, so yun lang.
Thanks, Ate Karina. Very similar siya sa concept na napag-usapan natin before, Dottie, yung about sa pagsiset ng life systems. Kasi di ba po parang there's this thing that we do goal settings each year, lalo na pag New Year's Eve, tas ito na yung bagong New Year's resolution ko. And after that goal, everybody will feel a bit anxious kasi pag natapos na yung goal, what will you do after it? So with the life system, it's telling you to set a routine that allows you to look at life not as a output, parang output based lang, just reaching the destination, but as a journey. Like you'll be able to find happiness and satisfaction at whatever point in that life system. So ayun po, next, let's hear naman po from Ate Reg.
Thank you so much, Francine. Mabalik ko lang talaga dun sa question na kanina when you asked, yung pertaining dun sa hindi pa nila nakikita yung advocacy nila. And I said, how to find your advocacy is first you have to know yourself, and of course you have to know what is important to you and what you strongly believe in, kasi yun yung magpaparealize sa'yo ano yung gusto mong gawin. Now if you found that, kung nakita mo na yung advocacy mo, it is really hard to it is hard na para makip mo yung advocacy alive. But the thing is, importante talaga na makakita ka ng mga people na with same interest, who will cheer you on, who would, parang kapag ka nababurnout ka na, ano kaya ang pwede kong gawin? You have someone to talk to, someone who believes in you. For me, I have my family, I have Mati moms, and seeing those people na parang na-appreciate nila yung mga ginagawa ko, even if others do not, as long as meron pa din yung family ko na nagtitiwala sa akin at yung mga friends ko na nagtitiwala sa akin, I can still go on. And of course, seeing the faces of those mothers na natulungan mo, nakikita mo yung mga batang lumalaki na parang napaka-healthy. Isa din yun sa mga nagki-keep ng advocacy alive sa akin.
Thanks, Ate Reg. Truly, napaka-important na emphasize na po natin before, but it stands to reason na yung importance ng support system, lalo na sa isang Girl Scout, hindi talaga matatawaran, na important that the people surrounding you are people who cheer you on, who acknowledge the things that you do to be something that is valid and important towards becoming the person that you're meant to be. How about you, Ate Ange?
Actually, I kind of have similarities when it comes to motivation then with Ate Reg and Ate Karina. No? Besides their support system, they find that the beneficiaries of the work that they do or their partners in the work that they do gives them that motivation to continue. Cliche na for most people to say na it's the smiles of the people that you help talaga, no, that motivates you. But for me, yun talaga eh. Kasi within that smile of the people, you find the hope na you want to continue helping them because they have this hope that they could survive another day and that they could there would be a time in their life that they will be living better than what they are having today. So it becomes a source of energy for me as well. So every time we interact with the people that we serve, or when we do our advocacy, even though you're tired, it gives you up that energy. I want to actually go back to one of the indigenous teachings in the Philippines, and hindi siya masyado ng binibigyan ng emphasis ngayon kasi I just remember this after you guys were opening up about Ikigai and some of the Japanese principles. No? Here in the Philippines, we forget to articulate na most of the things that we do actually not only comes from our heart, but actually comes from our liver. So when we feel, or for indigenous peoples, actually, the seat of love is not in the heart, but it's in the liver, in the atay, in the ati. So that's what most of the words that our empathetic words, kumbaga, the words that resonate talaga, emotions in our society, like dalamhati, bighati, this is because it comes from the liver. So when we, when you feel in your gut, when you feel in your gut that this is something that you're passionate about, or this advocacy really means to you, or in your family, or for the communities that you live in, that really keeps you motivated. So maybe look a little bit more on what you feel in your gut or what you feel in your liver, and maybe that will help you pursue your advocacy.
I'd like to add on kay Ange, I totally agree with you with that. Kasi once naman kasi na ang advocacy talaga is yun na talaga yung advocacy mo. Yun na talaga yung laban mo sa buhay. You can never stop. Nobody can stop you. Yun na talaga yun eh. Wala nang pwedeng mag-demotivate sa'yo. You will keep on going.
Yeah, really true. It's like, you can never take that out. Like that's your very core already. Like parang sa art, or I mean, just like in art or an artistic context, you can never take it out of, an artist, because that's our very soul.
Ayun. Thank you so much po, Ates. Alam niyo, I'm seeing similarities po talaga sa answer niyo. And yung naisip ko talaga nung mention na kanina kung bakit ka ba nag-start, parang that keeps us motivated. Naisip ko yung line from a song ng Ben and Ben. Sabi dun sa line, balikan kung bakit ka nagsimula. And grabe, dun talaga kapag na-realize mo na yung smiles ng mga natulungan mo, yung feeling nung ginagawa mo yung project na yon, yung feeling na nag-work ka on your advocacy, yun talaga yung mag-motivate sa atin, di ba? Aside from having a great support system. And ngayon, na pinag-uusapan na po natin yung more on self-care, nagta-touch on na tayo dyan. Ang gusto naman po namin i-ask for the last question na is, aside from rendering your time to serve others sa mga works nyo po, ano po yung ginagawa nyo during your free time? Meron po ba kayong mga self-care tips na pwede nyong i-share sa ating mga listeners? Let's start with Ate Ange.
It's really important though, and I'm sure the girls in this chat is really will really agree to me that you cannot give from an empty cup. So a lot of advocates talaga, they try to exhaust themselves at the point of burnout, not taking care of yourself. So self-care is really important, especially if you work with people. So if I have a free time, which I usually allot na these days, the basic talaga is I give myself 7 hours of sleep. I actually stopped eating meat as well, and even though I still love sugar. And then I try to work out at least twice a day, and I do not then ever skip my cold showers. So those basic things to take care of your physical health is good. On the mental side, what I do is I love to learn. So if I have free time, I would spend that to learn a new skill or build a new hobby by watching, YouTube videos, listening to podcasts. I will probably listen to more of the episodes of this podcast as well. So that's kind of a self-care activity for me as well. And in days that it becomes so difficult for me talaga to get up, I just simply try to calm down. And this is an advice that I got from one of my therapists before. You just seize the moment by not multitasking. So sometimes I listen to music just for the sake of listening to music and appreciating the art of it. You light a candle there or an incense, kung yan ang makatita talaga. But actually, I forget to appreciate that. When I was younger, na parang my mom would used to light candles, and now I appreciate practice. Na parang just be in the moment, seize the moment, and appreciate the music or the sounds of your surroundings without scrolling in your social media or multitasking. And yeah, establish your boundaries. Lalo na ngayon, if most of us are working from home or you guys are probably studying from home, establish your boundaries from work, your school, and your personal life.
Ayun, agree talaga Ate Ange. Nourish yourself, magkaroon ka ng boundaries. And kanina yung na-mention niyo rin po, naalala ko din bigla na meron tayong hustle culture trend na ngayon na dapat lagi kang may ginagawa, dapat lagi kang busy. And it's really toxic talaga. Kaya it's very important nga na tanggalin na natin yung multitasking na system natin. And kagaya nung nabasa ko po sa Ikigai na book, change it with the single tasking. Be at the moment, be in the moment, be present, and appreciate kung ano yung ginagawa mo at the moment. Next naman po, let's hear from Ate Karina.
Well, that's the thing. Parang naging 24/7 mo na yung ginagawa mo. It's fine. It's difficult to find the time. But I learned how to prioritize things actually in the process. And also when you're an artist, you can indulge yourself into, art making. So would I have free time? I see to it I do have it now. I sleep a lot. I really like to take long naps in the afternoon, and I play golf, and at the same time I'm gonna go eat and explore really, 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 really good stuff. Living here in Malaysia, medyo spoiled kami when it comes to food. Yeah. Lucky lang na hindi pa tayo tumataba. So lakad lang. So again, long walks. So along with eating a lot, long walks. Yeah, those are just simple things that I do. Yeah.
Thanks, Ate Karina. Would you like to add on that po, Ate Reggie?
Ayan, so nakaka-guilty naman yung multitasking, most especially now in this pandemic. Grabe talaga, almost 24/7 ang aming work. But I really, really, really appreciate free times. Alam mo yon, parang ito lang talaga yung panahon na I'm talking about free time talaga na parang dedicated to myself alone. Kasi marami naman tayong spare time na hindi tayo nag-work, but I also have the advocacy on the side. I do counseling. I have my kids, yung ganon. But I'm talking about the free time that is solely for myself, and wherein parang pinifeel ko talaga yung moment na akin talaga ito. And that time, aside from sleeping, I also like to eat. Ayan, eat yummy foods. I love to read, of course, and listen to music. Yun yung parang pampahappy ko talaga. And of course, alam mo yun, yung gusto ko talaga yung madedicate talaga sana, like Ange, na mayroong 30 minutes a day, no? Pero ang hirap-hirap. But yun, we deserve natin yun. Siguro I will really, really find time to do that para meron din akong matawag na sarili kong oras. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening.
Thank
you
rin,
so
Ate
much,
Reg.
Ate.
Thank you, Ate Ange, and thank you, Ate Karina. Sobrang ganda ng mga tips nila, Dottie, no, with regards to self-care. And during this
Super.
pandemic, di ba, ang dami nating nadidiscover na different interests. Naglipa na nga ng pandemic yung paggawa ng dalgona coffee, ng ube pandesal, and a lot of people are going back to reading, and yeah, it's a highly advised activity to do. Sobrang enjoy magbasa. If you're not into reading, small steps lang, kahit one page or one paragraph from a book or something that you're used to reading, such as a magazine, a blog, or a newsletter, will work din naman. Baby steps towards becoming more calm, becoming more centered. Kasi understandably, the situation that we are in, it is unprecedented. It is really, really scary. And a lot of people are dealing with multitude of problems, not just about their health, but also about their finances, about their education. So right now, The only thing that we can offer aside from warm hugs, warm virtual hugs, is knowing that here in this sisterhood there is support. A lot of people are cheering you on. A lot of people are rooting for you to succeed, to be happy, to be healthy as you journey along in life. So that brings us to the end of this episode. Alam mo ba, Dottie, ayaw ko pang umalis. Ayaw ko pang matapos to.
Same ate. And yung
Super
mga
ako
sinabi mo kanina
natuwa.
talaga, it's very well said. Alam mo, share ko lang din na very quick sharing lang. Isa talaga sa binabalik-balikan ko sa Girl Scouting is yung connection na na-build natin, yung sisterhood, and nakakataba ng puso, nakakatuwa na parte ka ng isang organisasyon na talagang sumusuporta sa lahat ng gusto mong gawin, sa lahat ng mga ideals mo, values, di ba? So nakakatuwa lang na maging part ng GSP. Kaso ayun na nga,
Totoo.
kailangan natin tapusin ang ating episode kahit na super rich nung conversation at kahit ayoko pa rin umalis personally.
So before we end, Dots, let's just have a quick recap on what we talked about, kung ano bang napag-usapan natin today. Kasi ang daming information na natackle, no? And I think for girls who are listening, they would want a brief reminder of what we talked about. Ano ba yung mga important points? So first things first about having an advocacy. So Wax defines advocacy as influencing others to make a decision that will change their lives. So ang daming words nun, medyo complicated, but from our speakers, we've heard Ate Karina talk about advocacies being organic, something that grows with you. With Ate Ange, she talked about advocacies being something that she learned from Girl Scouts, developing empathy through 2 decades of her membership in the movement. And we talked to Ate Reg, who shared with us or talked about having an advocacy from her greatest hugot naman, her deepest hugot, which is becoming a mom. And then when we talked about or explored the topic of how did they realize their advocacy, a lot of them or the three of them share that this is something they've been doing a lot of times before. This is something that they've encountered during their elementary, secondary, and tertiary education. They were exposed to multiple advocacies, and they would like to advise girls not to limit themselves on only one advocacy, to continue exploring on how they can express their humanity in different ways. And for those who have not yet found their advocacy, it's perfectly all right. Wag kayong ma-pressure, guys. Kalma lang, sabi nga nila. Calm down. And trust that wherever you are in your journey, it is leading you to something that is important to you, that is central to your DNA as a Girl Scout, as a person, and along with your different roles in life. And it's important to take a step back muna din, sit down, find the time to sort through what you're thinking. If you can do 30 minutes of meditation or soul searching, that would be great as well. And look at where the pressure is coming from. Is it an internal kind of pressure? Is it an external kind of pressure? Is there really pressure at all? Or maybe this is something that you feel you should do or must do. So it's important to look at that as well. Then for them, importance of having a vision cannot be underscored enough. So the common theme there is finding harmony, unity, and peace. Yun nga sabi nila, mga mala Miss Universe ang levels considering kakatapos lang ng Miss Universe Philippines. But it is actually true. Finding peace, harmony, and unity are the keys to having a well-lived life. And what keeps them motivated is having a support system, having a mentor, having people who will cheer them on. And of course, hindi natin pwedeng kalimutan na in the midst of everything, in the midst of hustle culture, the grind, sabi nga nila, it's important to take care of yourself, to be more aware of what you can do to be a better person. So in your pursuit of self-awareness, it is important to lessen self-judgment and go towards having more self-acceptance as a person. So thank you so much once again to our guests, Ate Karina, Ate Reg, and Ate Ange for sharing your valuable insights here on our first ever podcast episode. We hope that this conversation resonated with you girls and that it brought value to your personal perspectives.
Yes, and in the coming episodes of our IDG podcast series, we are going to explore how we can start our own advocacy action plans. And we're also going to feature a group of Girl Scouts who have made significant impact in their community. So, girls, please do stay tuned for that. Until then, this is your host, Cadet Girl Scout Dorothy Rosario.
With Cadet Girl Scout Francine Prades.
See you again.